This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Have you ever had a family member who suffered as much from the cancer treatment as from the cancer? Well, my guest today is working to address that problem with kinder, gentler treatments to replace, perhaps in many cases, the radiation treatment for breast cancer patients. So stick around. You don't want to miss this episode. Welcome to the Supercrowd Presents Superpowers for Good. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Diana Tucker. She's the CEO and founder of SenoGuard. Diana, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Devin.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. So tell us about SenoGuard. What is it that you're doing that's different and better?
So for those of us who do have somebody that we've known who's had breast cancer, you have two choices. You either remove the entire breast or you take the tumor out. If you take the tumor out, you then have to have radiation to kill any cell that might have been left behind that might cause a recurrence. But that radiation is horrible in a lot of ways. It's horrible both clinically and cosmetically. And cosmetically, it changes the shape, size, and feel of the breast. So the woman often has, social, emotional issues for a long time, which is really bad because more and more younger women are getting breast cancer. And the other is the long-term physical problems with radiation, is that the radiation will cause you to have a higher risk of getting another kind of cancer. And it also leads. She got breast cancer at a very young age, survived the breast cancer, but the radiation went to her heart and killed her. So I am very passionate about eliminating radiation if at all possible.
I guess so. That's such a tragic story. But you have recorded some women who have had radiation treatment and their experiences. Let me play the recording you shared with me, and then maybe we can chat further.
I was diagnosed in 2019, and I had breast cancer surgery in December of that year. And after that surgery was healed, I was recommended for 11 weeks of 5 days a week for radiation. So I drove 90 minutes to and from each session each day. By the time I got home, it was a little bit after lunch, and all I could do was sleep. And then my husband would get me up for dinner, and then I had no problem going back to sleep, even if it was 7:30. I was just 1,000% exhausted. After the 11 weeks of radiation, the company I had worked for had given my job away to someone else. I don't wish radiation on anybody.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022. My radiation treatment consisted of 22 treatments that spanned over a month. I think the main side effect from the radiation was the blisters on my chest. And my chest was like it was on fire. It's worse than a sunburn you could ever have because it comes from within. It's not just topical, it's deep. It's like probably a second or third degree burn. I mean, I had to be careful of the kind of bra I wore, the kind of clothes, everything had to be loose fitting. Even sleeping was difficult.
So, Diana, I think, are those experiences typical of patients who receive radiation? And it just seems horrible.
Yeah, It's very typical. In fact, about 28% of women who could have a lumpectomy with radiation and avoid a mastectomy end up choosing the mastectomy because not only do you get those side effects, but radiation isn't offered in every city. It's in usually a higher socioeconomic dense population, which means almost 30% of the women can't take every day off for up to 6 weeks and still maintain a job or take care of a family. Or if they, I'm so sorry, or they can't afford it. It's very expensive. So there's almost a third of the patients who are qualified for a lumpectomy don't get it because they can't afford it. They can't take the time off work, or they can't take the time away from their family, or they live too far away from a center. So this also addresses not just the toxic parts of radiation, but the social disparity that it causes.
It is just a horrible part of cancer, and of course, virtually all the treatments are terrible. Talk to us about what SenoGuard envisions doing and how it will be different.
So we use a patented advanced form of cryoablation. It's been around. The thought of freezing cancer cells has been around for 25 years. It's proven, it works, but there's never been an available form of that technology that would work in the way that we're using it. And that is, the patient goes in for her tumor excision, the tumor is excised, immediately we freeze the cavity where the tumor has just been removed, and that kills any residual cancer cells, which means she's not going to have a recurrence, or she should not have a recurrence. And it's one and done. You do it at the same time as the original surgery, and the patient goes home. She doesn't have to worry about following up daily. She can go back to work the very next day. So it's a miracle procedure, I like to think of.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's such a radical game changer. I have a dear friend who went through this 18 months ago. And, the radiation she described as being somewhat easier than the chemo. But she was miserable. She was miserable going through the radiation phase too. And it was much worse than she had anticipated, is my recollection of her descriptions, that a lot of the doctors and others were saying, it's easier, you don't need to worry about it compared to the chemo, not so bad. Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't mean it wasn't so bad.
Exactly. Exactly. I hear that a lot. It's way worse than anybody ever tells you.
Yeah. So you're raising on WeFunder. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to raise from the crowd.
Well, we've been funded by the National Science Foundation. We've had 2 grants, actually, and I'm probably going to get a 3rd one, but it's just not quite enough to get us over the FDA clearance process, which is very, very expensive. So we thought, it's the general public who can really relate to what we're doing. That's where we need to be. That's where we need to go to get this extra money to get us further down the line into commercialization. So that's why we chose WeFunder.
That's great. It really is a powerful tool for entrepreneurs to be able to raise capital from the crowd. And, everybody seems to know someone who's had breast cancer, especially if you have any gray hair, right? Young folks are a little less likely to have people in their circle, although it's still likely. But I can think of, let's see, my mother-in-law, multiple dear friends have been through it. I mean, I can't. I've lost track of my own experience with people I know and love going through this. It's very common, isn't it?
Oh yes, 1 in 8 women, and the issue. One of the issues is everybody knows somebody, and so that's kind of the beauty of going out to the public, because not only will they be investing in something that's good for society, but they're also investing in something that's near and dear to their heart. And they feel like it's, because I've had friends tell me this, they feel like they're donating to a friend, but it's more than that. It's donating, not donating, but investing for a friend in a cause. It's a double dipper this way, and it makes everybody happy. It makes the patient happy. It makes all their friends happy. It's when I go to make a pitch for donations or not donations, investments, I will often ask the crowd, does anybody here, I used to say, does anybody here know somebody who's had breast cancer? And everybody's hand went up. So now I say, does anybody here not know someone who's had breast cancer? And might get one hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is tragically common.
Yeah.
And horrific, but it is wonderful to see you raising from the crowd and the potential, the great opportunity that gives. And I would just note, for the benefit of our audience, that if you want to learn more about investing, you can do that right at s4g.biz/Seno, as in SenoGuard, SENO, and that'll take you directly to the WeFunder page. It's a nice short URL, s4g.biz/Seno. Diana, we're going to take a quick break now, but I'm so grateful that you would take the time to be with us today. This is such an exciting opportunity for people to learn more and invest in such an important technology that really has the potential to change the game, and make some money along the way, potentially. So very, very exciting.
Thank you.
Listen, folks, I'm so grateful I had the opportunity to be here with Diana Tucker, the CEO and founder of SenoGuard. She's got a radically innovative technology for improving breast cancer treatments, potentially eliminating for many people the need to have radiation treatment following a lumpectomy. This is a game changer. It's huge. Stick around. You don't want to miss the rest of our conversation as we talk about Diana's superpower. She's an amazing CEO and entrepreneur. You don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding, the book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy. SuperCrowd 25, where innovation meets impact.
18 hours of live content, 5 platforms, 1 global audience.
Join the largest event for regulated investment crowdfunding. Live pitches, expert panels, real change.
August 21st and 22nd.
Scan the code or visit thesupercrowd25.com to register free today.
Struggling to raise capital for your business? Unlock the power of the crowd with AI. My free guide, Crowdfunding Made Simple, walks you through every step to success. Get funded smarter, faster. Scan the QR code now for your free download.
Welcome back. Before we continue our discussion, I want to just take a minute and personally invite you to join us for SuperCrowd 25. This is going to be an amazing, really incredible event. 2 full days of amazing content. Whether you're interested in learning more about investing in game-changing technology like this, or whether you are an entrepreneur and you want to learn how to raise capital the way Diana is doing it, this conference is for you. 2 full days. And you know how much it costs to tune in? Exactly $0. You can watch for free. Now, we do have a $25 VIP option that will get you access to a backstage pass, VIP networking, direct contact with the speakers, sponsors, and other VIPs. It's a powerful package. We invite you to check it out. But whatever you do, put August 21st and 22nd for SuperCrowd 25 on your calendar. Now, we're going to get back to our conversation with Diana Tucker. She's the CEO and founder of SenoGuard, and she has a radical technology for improving breast cancer treatments. We've been talking about that, but we're going to shift gears now to talk to Diana about her superpower. Stick around. Diana, this isn't your first rodeo. You have been leading the commercialization of medical technology for years, and you've had a stellar career. And this is, in a way, a manifestation of all you've been building toward, right? This SenoGuard is just an amazing, game changing technology. What is your superpower?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me that. And going back to my experience with my mother, I realized that when I have a sincere understanding, I become very passionate, enthusiastic, and relentless to get that, whatever it is, taken care of, to make it across the finish line.
That is a great superpower, and that is powerful. That relentlessness. I wonder if you can think of a specific moment in time, a specific challenge where you had to overcome something, and that relentless superpower of yours came into play in making a difference. Can you think of an example?
Yes, I can, Devin. Way back on one of my very first jobs in the medical device industry, I interviewed for a startup company, and the CEO said, well, there's an ophthalmology problem, and some people can go blind, but there's a doctor in Paris who has an answer for it. If you can figure out how to bring that over to America and let us get it out to the public, you have a job. And if you can't, you're fired. It's now the standard of care for this particular procedure they do. So that was.
Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. And you credit your relentlessness in helping you get that done. I understand. So
Yeah, yeah. There's a funny sequel to that, and that is 25 years later, I have a new ophthalmologist, and as he's examining me, he goes, "How do you know so much about ophthalmology?" And I said, "I brought the gag laser into the market." And he goes, "Oh my God." He starts ringing the bell. All of the ophthalmologists come into the room. He says, "You got to shake the hand with this woman. She brought the gag laser to us." It was embarrassing, but it also was rewarding knowing that I had an impact. I mean,
yeah,
I think we go sometimes not realizing that we've really done something for people.
yeah, that's amazing. What a great sequel to that story. Now, Diana, as you think about your superpower, your relentlessness, I imagine that there are times when you have coached other people, maybe employees, colleagues, we're going through a rough patch, whether it's personal or professional, and how to be a little more relentless. I want you to share some of those tips with us so we can learn to be a little more like Diana Tucker and be a little more resilient, a little more relentless.
Well, I think part of it is finding something that you really are passionate about. And once you're passionate about it, your enthusiasm starts getting out there and you share it with people and bring it in because you can't do it alone. You need other people that see the same vision you do, but then you never give up. When you hit a roadblock, you find a work. You will find a way to get it done. That's what I tell my people now. If they say, "Oh, I can't do that because," find a way to do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. You just have to believe in yourself and not stop.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And as you think about, the problems that we see in building a business, it comes up all the time, doesn't it? So, as I look at what you're doing now at SenoGuard, you kind of described it, right? We've got NSF grants that are providing a lot of the funding for bringing this technology to the next key stages, and you recognize there's a gap here,
Yes.
and you said, okay, we're not going to let that gap stop us. We'll find a solution, and so raising from the crowd became your solution. that's an example. Can you think of another example or two where you, lean into that relentlessness to find that alternative path?
Well, it's again, it refers to SenoGuard in that there's a limited amount of breast cancer sites, which means that's why part of those 28% of the women don't get treated. They're not near one. So if you find, and then you dig deep, why aren't there? Well, because community hospitals generally can't afford a breast care program. Radiation is expensive. Radiation oncologists are not all over the place. So by going down this road, we went, oh my God, we can make this available to women in rural areas because you don't need radiation. You don't need a radiation oncologist. And community hospitals would love to be able to treat their own community people and not have to send them out to a big university. It's just keep digging deeper and you're going to find more and more reasons to do what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great example. A great example. Now, as you think about this relentlessness, I wonder if you could help us think of an example that would be a little more personal, right? Because, all of us, most of us have, professional situations where our relentlessness is helpful.
Yes.
But we all have times in our personal lives where we go through challenges and we need to find that relentlessness. Can you think of an example and maybe a tip or two for how we can apply that in a personal way?
That's a tough one because it's just ingrained in me. I actually can't even imagine giving up. Would you? Now, there's a lot of distractions in life that aren't worth, or you don't have the passion to go after. But if you really believe in something, why wouldn't you want to keep going? And I'm having a hard time thinking of it personally because it's just part of who I am.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving that some thought. I think there are a lot of people who apply relentlessness to their cancer treatment and recovery, right? They
Absolutely.
have to, get up every day. They have to, go to chemo, go to radiation. And even if your deal gets funded, radiation's probably the reality for several more years as your project goes through all the various stages of testing, clinical testing, approvals, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't something we get done by Christmas, but that relentlessness seems to be something that is just absolutely demanded of cancer patients who
Yeah.
want to be survivors after 5 years and 10 years, right? They got to go through, right? Like they say, the only way out is through.
That's right.
Yeah. What are some of the inspiring stories that you've heard from the people in your community as you work through this?
Everybody loves what I do. I've had calls from people that I haven't talked to for years that heard about it and asked if there was any way that they could get my treatment. And I said, I'm so sorry, it's not available yet. And you certainly don't wait for it. If you've got breast cancer, take care of it now. But I hear stories all the time of such as what we saw in the videos, how the journey, they're going to be fine, but the journey is so horrendous. If anybody could just make it a little less toxic. I mean, it's so toxic that they've published textbooks on the toxicities of breast cancer radiation. One would think that there should have been another option years ago. Why, for 25 years, have we only had the choice of mastectomy or lumpectomy with radiation? It's just unfathomable for me to
Yeah.
believe that we've let it go that long.
Yeah, it is tragic. It's sad. I'm so excited that you are on the leading edge now of bringing an alternative to market that could just really change the game for people with breast cancer. Thank you so much, Diana, for
Thank you,
being with
Devin.
us today. I want to remind everyone you can invest by visiting s4g.biz/seno, SENO at the end. And Diana, I think you're available on LinkedIn if people want to connect with you there, right?
I am.
Fantastic. Well, again, Diana, thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you every success in this vitally important effort.
Thank you, Devin. I really
All righty
appreciate
now.
being here.
All righty now. Let's do some good.